Hello and welcome back. Sorry for disappearing, I was very busy with moving to a new apartment, but now I'm back to business. And today we're gonna build newest addition to Israel Air Force, F-35 Adir. As usual, I started from cockpit. In this plane, it's kinda plain, pun intended. Because of huge display, pilot don't need so many buttons, but another way, it made modular life easier. As for many other builds, this cockpit was painted with trusted NATO black from Tamiya and dry brush to pick some details. I also used some other colors for small details. On a seat, I used different tones of black and dark grey to separate elements of the seat and make them less boring. In real life, they are all black, but it will look too dark and like dark boring piece on a model. After details was done, I applied decals on control panel. Meng did a good job on them, they are bright and crisp. Then all work was covered with gloss varnish and washes were applied. To clean excess wash, I use cotton swab and brush moisture and enamel thinner. And after wash was dry, I covered cockpit with matte varnish. While varnish was drying, I glued landing gear and weapon base to lower part of fuselage. As final touches, I put AK wet effect on screens of control panels to simulate glass. Basically, you can use any gloss varnish, Tamiya X22 works perfect. Air intakes is a bit tricky, so pay attention to the instruction for this step. Outside part was covered with basic airplane color, as it will be hard to reach after assembly. For same reason, inside parts were painted with gloss white. For gluing, I used CA glue as it will not leak and melt paint inside air intakes. Exhaust and landing gear base were painted with matte white. Then for exhaust, I used very diluted AK jet exhaust color to simulate black burnt marks. And to make it even more interesting and realistic, I used some brown oil paints that I blended with a flat brush to create this brownish tone of white color inside. Then I primed outside panels with glossy black primer and painted with extreme pale burnt metal color. For tint, I used again diluted jet exhaust color. Highly diluted paint requires accuracy and a slow build of very thin layers, but result is very nice. And to achieve a red tone that I saw in reference pictures, I used a clear red color, also very diluted. Fuselage assembly is straightforward and simple. The only problematic place is a wing joint, as it have a seam line on a place that must be super smooth. For this build, client chose to close all weapon bays, which meant less work for me. For clear parts, I mixed smoke, yellow and red clear colors, and applied them in a very thin and light layers. I don't remember the exact ratio of a color mix, but remember to use a little bit of red because it's a very dominant color. If paint is not clear enough after you painted the clear part, just spray it with a light layer of pure leveling thinner. It will help. After assembling, I primed the whole model with AK black primer and microfiller. It will give a nice base for future steps and will also cover some minor imperfections. Then I sprayed all surface with extreme metal steel. I found it perfect for this plane as it gives a great base for main color, but it's also not too bright. This color also helped me to see a lot of imperfections that honestly took me some time to fix. As main color, I used AK half glass, mixed with Alclad aluminum. It was diluted with Mr. Leveling Thinner in a high ratio around 20% of paint and 80% of thinner, and applied with the light layers. Alclad made main color a bit less resistant, so I covered my paint job with VMS satin varnish as soon as it was completely dry. Then it was a time for most relaxing part, masking. I used great masking set from Galaxy models. It looks like a lot, but it was quite easy to apply, and yeah, it took some time. And when I was done with masking, I masked a little bit more. Just a bit, as you can see. I didn't have the exact color for RAM panels, so I used what I had and it looked right at the first. After painting, I covered panel lines with satin varnish and then I used diluted enamel wash to have more control over a washboard. And I protected all with matte varnish after wash was dried. When I took mask away, I realized that I chose wrong grey color. It was way too bright. I tried several ways to fix it, and in the end I just filtered it all with a light layer of main color. But it doesn't look too bad, right? And then I masked a little bit more, just to paint areas of tactical numbers and symbols. For markings, I use wonderful set of decals from Isra Decals. They are very good and also they are very thin, so remember to be very gentle with them, and they will give you a wonderful result. To take down mask is the most scary part of every build, but also a very satisfying one. As a last step, I attach landing gears and exhaust to the places. And model was done. I expected quick and easy build, but it was a little challenge. but most important, it was a very cool and learning experience. As usual, thank you for watching. Press like if you did, dislike if you don't. Subscribe and share, and see you next time.